The Water Center is actually one of 54 federally mandated centers, one for each U.S. state and territory. These were actually formed 45 years ago, and they have a very specific mission as part of that. One is for arranging for competent research that addresses water problems or expanding the understanding of water. The Water Center works very closely with our extension and outreach faculty to help really hand in glove get that information out. Why is water a really big deal? Well, it is a big deal because obviously water is important for drinking, for our economy. It's really important in so many different ways for industry, agriculture, and so on. Thus, there's obviously competition. Although here in Nebraska we're not necessarily seeing many wells go dry, we do know there's a real limit to the amount of water we have, and it's also well understood if we're not careful we will start seeing more rivers, more wells going dry. I think that's really the big challenge, is number one, to define what is a sustainable amount of water use. And that really can be a challenge because it's difficult to figure out what for the long term really is the available water resource. Trying to understand a water balance. How much water do we really have given that only a small portion of the water that we have is going in the rivers? What makes us unique is a very large amount of our water that we use is from groundwater sources. For instance, in Nebraska, over 80% of our citizenry get their drinking water from groundwater. Nationally, that's unusually high. Also, what's unusual is how of that citizenry, almost half of them are drinking groundwater supplies that have little or no treatment because the water quality is really pretty good. Here in recent years, water quantity issues, particularly in the central and the west, have really dominated the discussions here in Nebraska. I anticipate those are going to continue to be important, but I also anticipate we're going to have more discussions here in the next decade, decade and a half of water quality issues.